Dr. Swayne, would you like to share more?
Thanks. Yes. I'm going to start tonight with a quick update on accreditation and the process. We received another email from the NWCCU about an update of the process. This is, we're the third institution to go through show cause in the United States. And so probably the first that NWCCU has dealt with. So they keep updating and just providing us more information as we go along. So we got an email that kind of gave us a little finer detail on what's going to happen when we go there. The hearing will be on June 23rd. The team that came to visit, the chair of that team that came to visit on the 26th and 27th, will have 10 minutes by herself in front of the full commission. There are about 30 commissioners. I don't know how many will be present, but she'll be presenting for about 10 minutes in front of the full commission. And then we'll be invited in, some introductions, and I'll make a 5 to 10 minute introductory, 5 to 10 minute introductory comments. All of the input that we provided, everything that has been submitted to the NWCCU has been provided to all the commissioners. And then they have appointed what they call a primary and secondary commissioner, who are, I don't know how to characterize it, but they're going to kind of state the case, ask questions of us that we'll have to respond to. So they'll have a primary commissioner and a secondary commissioner that will ask us questions for 5 to 10 minutes. And then there may be some follow-up questions. And then the NWCCU board chair will ask the full group if there are any more questions. So if you think about this, we have about 45 minutes. And when you take out the introductory comments and everything else, we'll have about 10 or 15 minutes to answer questions during the middle of that hearing. At the end of that, I'll provide 3 to 5 minutes of comments. And at that point, we'll be asked to be excused, and the commission will go into executive session and debate. And I don't know if they make a decision then, but they'll have about 15 minutes to discuss, debate, and make a decision if that's what they need to do. And then within 30 days of that, so by the 23rd of July, we should have a response back. That's the current schedule of what we're expecting to see when we go out there on the 23rd of June. More information may be coming, but that's as of Sunday night, I think, that we got that update. I do want to spend a minute talking about recruiting, and a couple of people have made comments about that. And yes, across the United States, there is a decline, particularly at community colleges, and there's kind of what they call the demographic cliff, where because of the baby boomers and Gen X, all the declining birth rates, there's kind of a cliff that hits about 2025, where there are just not as many people graduating from high school. So they're not going, even if the percentage stays the same, they're not going on to college at the same, there's not as many people going on to college. So when I got back, we started having reports on enrollment starting around the first week of April. And at that time, we started being able to, we finally have the systems in place so we can look at where we are now and where we were exactly that date a year ago. And so at that time, first week of April, we were down year over year, 22.7%, which again, as someone pointed out, being down 20% this year is not significantly different from the national norms. However, we're not accepting that sitting down. So we pulled the team back together, the recruiting team back together. We have about 30 people that work on the recruiting team. We pulled them back together. And now since the first week of April to the 29th of May, when we got our last update, we went from 22.7% down year over year to just 5.6% down year over year. So we've made a roughly 17% improvement in our enrollment in the past 8 weeks. So that's pretty impressive, I think. And I think as participants in this, you all should be very proud of the 30 team enrollment management team that has pulled this together, refining marketing materials, working on enrollment bottlenecks, trying to prove efficiencies, and even building the data systems that allow us to compare this year to last year and beyond. So that's a significant amount of work to build all those systems and to be able to do the analysis. And I'm very proud of the work that they've done. Steve Kurtz has led a lot of the data teams, and Laura Rumpler on the marketing. But I'd say everyone has really made a significant effort to improve that. And we'll continue to now that we have the data, we can start tracking when we do something with marketing or we do an activity in the community targeted on enrollment, we can start to look at the impact of those and make changes based on the impact that we can now measure. So, and a lot of when we're talking about increasing our marketing, one of the things that we do now is a lot of electronic marketing, and it's very, sometimes challenging. We tell you we're doing a lot more marketing and nobody sees it. Well, it's because we're probably not marketing to you. Just FYI. If you've already got a degree, or if you're my age, we're a lot of the marketing right now is going to high school graduates, some of the demographic that attends courses at a higher percentage. So those are the target markets, but we also have a big increase in non-traditional, so 55 and older. So the 55 and older will get marketing material, probably not right now, but in the future, you'll start to get marketing material delivered to you electronically. So that's very important. I also, scholarships is a big part of our effort in terms of enrollment, and a nod to the NIC Foundation. They started providing funding to the college. So they raise money, and then the proceeds of the capital, so the interest that they earn off of the capital, they provide to the college, and we are able to then use that in scholarships. So in October, we asked them to start moving that up so that we can start offering scholarships earlier to help influence the situation. And so back in October, they provided $930,000 that was available to the college in scholarships. And just last week, they provided another $204,000 that we can offer on scholarships. So that's about almost $1.2 million in scholarships that has been raised by the foundation to provide to our students for scholarships. We've launched a bunch of scholarship-focused marketing campaigns. So one of the things that we started right after I got back, we started marketing and sending out letters to the graduating students from the 5 northern counties, and offering them scholarships ranging from $1,000 to $2,500. The first letter that went out went to about 1,900 students. We've got about 220 now that have accepted those scholarships from the 5 northern counties, again, ranging from 1,000 to 2,500. That includes 8 students that completed their GEDs. Many of them were likely homeschooled or finished school, some other, finished school through our GED program. So 8 of those students received scholarships. So out of that 220 total, 166 students from Kootenai County have received scholarships valued at $332,500. So that's a pretty significant amount of money that we're providing to those students in order to help them get started, as you heard, with some of their education journey. So 166 scholarships awarded, about $332,500 for just Kootenai County. I also want to update you on the vaccinated status for our practicum venues. There is really no update. We provided a brief update back 2 weeks ago. No significant changes. We're working with all of our practicum partners in the area to reduce vaccine requirements and to encourage them to allow waivers so that we can get waivers for our students. And I'll just, with the federal government reducing some of the requirements for vaccinations, the hospitals are now able to reduce some of those requirements. So this is a really dynamic time, and we hope that by August, things will settle down. We'll have a much better picture. So we'll provide a much more thorough update in August with updates on where we stand with accreditation, with vaccine for our practicum venues. The last thing I'm going to talk about is campus security. There's been an emphasis by the board on looking at campus security. The Dean of Students is currently in Boise attending the Idaho State Threat Assessment Conference. And He's going to coordinate with the Idaho Office of School Safety and discuss they do a free threat assessment. So he's going to get that and look at what they, consider what they look at in their threat assessment. They provide it free, but it may not do everything we want. So we're going to use that as a baseline and then consider what else might need to be done. But the nice thing about attending this conference is this is where all the vendors will be that do threat assessments outside of just the free stuff we get from the Office of School Safety. So he's collecting their information so that if we decide we need to go out and get additional work on the threat assessment, we'll have contacts with all those vendors to do that. And Mr. Chairman, I think that concludes my president's report for